Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming along to our webinar today. I'm really excited about the content we've got to share with you about digital transformation, explaining a little bit about what it is and also talking about the Canadian Digital Adoption Program. So I'll start with some introductions. So my name is Joshua Smith, and I have two roles here at Kirkhoff Technologies. So I'm the Chief Operating Officer of KTI, which is a managed service provider here in the Fraser Valley in British Columbia, Canada. And I'm also the VP of Operations of the parent company, which includes KTI that I previously mentioned, Crafty Penguins, which is our Linux division, and also Top Left, which is a software as a service product that we develop. And I'm here today in a dual role as well. So I'm here both to facilitate, introduce this webinar, and also to provide some insight on how digital transformation has helped our business succeed and grow. So joining me today is Isabel Schmidt. So she is our primary project team member, project manager, and also our head virtual chief information officer, VCIO, is a term that you may or may not be familiar with. But she helps our clients achieve digital transformation and grow their business in line with their business goals. And also here today working for us behind the scenes is Kaya Figlaska, who's our sales support specialist. So with the introductions out of the way, I will hand it over to Isabel to present the content.
Great, thank you, Joshua. That's cool. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is understanding the fundamentals of digital transformation, why it has become an indispensable business strategy for organizations today. You're going to learn what it is and something about implementation. We're going to talk about the Canadian Digital Adoption Program, which helps Canadian organizations with some funding and grants to be able to go through this digital transformation process. And we'll talk about some other opportunities as well for nonprofits or government organizations, just the same. So what is digital transformation and the role of the digital advisor? So the digital advisor plays a critical role in the digital transformation journey by organizing and creating a structure to the process. So quite often in an organization, they start out on the left, or they're somewhere in the left, where they might have online marketing, they might have a website, maybe their sales department runs a CRM, their finance department might run QuickBooks Online, maybe operations has got some kind of ERP system, but the systems aren't necessarily integrated. There's no overall cohesive strategy for digital technologies and their implementation across the entire organization. And that's the role of the digital advisor, to work with the core decision makers like the CEO and business owners, to kind of shield them from all of the different departments that might be coming in with kind of ad hoc solutions to their solution. So we work with everyone from internal IT departments in operations, sales, marketing, and accounting, all of these things. Digital technology can touch all of them now. IT isn't just the owner of digital transformation anymore. We put that role into somebody we call the digital advisor, or in our case, the VCIO. And that really helps guide an organization to make sure that there's a strategy and a plan in place. And what does that transformation journey look like? How do we get from the confusion to the clarity? We start with a business improvement review, and we'll talk more about this later in the presentation. The business improvement review makes sense of digital transformation for your organization and gives you an idea as to what this process might look like. From there, we go through a detailed set of assessments and planning workshops and strategy workshops to take your organization from identifying where you're currently at as an organization, identifying where, as far as digital maturity goes, identifying what struggles and problems that you have with your organization, dealing with stakeholders to really identify how digital transformation is going to improve your organization. From there, we move into strategy planning with those same stakeholders, and eventually the leadership, the digitally transformed leadership, spends the next several years implementing and growing the digital transformation with the clarity of the strategy plan that's been developed through this process. So, what is digital transformation? Exactly. Digital transformation enables organizations to leverage technologies across all aspects of their business, generating value for customers and fostering an environment for their employees to grow. The key opportunity to drive higher profits or improve outcomes, depending on your organizational goal. What does it mean to embrace digital technologies? Successful organizations recognize the value of digital tools for innovation, efficiency, customer-centric decision-making. These technologies often allow for seamless communication and streamlined process, management of KPIs, and allow business individuals to make decisions based on information. So an example that for something like this, it might be perhaps your financial reporting. In financial reporting, maybe it comes out of your QuickBooks Online or something like that. Maybe you're getting your financial reports compiled in Excel by a financial team. They come out maybe at the end of the week or at month end as part of a month end process, maybe even only quarterly. That information isn't available to key business decision makers in real time. I think, Joshua, you had something to say kind of about how we've done some of this inside of our organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Isabel. Can we go back to the digital transformation slide? Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, so when we're working through some of the challenges I'm going to discuss, we didn't have this wonderful graphic. But when I first saw it, it really made so much sense. It kind of helped me visualize, gave me a clear mental image of what we'd been working on. So when I started at KTI, we were a very small business. And in a small business, it's easy to have the communication and information flowing between people. So for quite some time, I was probably responsible for 3/4 of the roles that are on this slide, and made it easy to share information because I was just talking to myself. So now we're nearly 40 people. And these roles are spread out amongst multiple people, and many of whom are remote. We're a hybrid business. So, for example, we have 5 people now just in finance and operations, and that's not including myself. That means it becomes so much more important to have our business tools and processes working together. So I could talk about all the improvements we've made for hours, but to focus on just one. So we have a number of internal tools that deal with the various aspects of our business. And one of them is ConnectWise Manage, which is our ticketing and time entry system. And then we also use QuickBooks Online, as I'm sure many of you do as well. So ConnectWise Manage does have reporting in it, but it's text-based reporting. It's a wall of numbers, and it's very point in time. So that meant we could only really see how we were going for a month, or how our month had done at the end of that month. So that doesn't give you any time to course correct, to make adjustments, whatever might be needed to achieve the goals of the business. So to try and get around that, we worked in Excel, as many companies do, and that helped. But it's time consuming, it's manual and prone to errors. And it also means that not all the relevant people can easily see the data. So to solve this issue, we built out some dashboards that connect to our ConnectWise Manage instance that allow us to visualize our progress through the month. So we went from pretty much no info to having this live view of how each of the aspects of our business is going as we track through the month. And that allows us to course correct more quickly than before. Yeah, so that's just kind of one small example of how digital transformation has been applied in our business to make us more efficient. And any more questions, there's a Q&A panel where you can ask some questions, and we'll have time for that at the end. Otherwise, I'll hand it back over to Isabel.
Great. Thank you, Joshua. That's excellent. So What does digital transformation really mean and why does it matter? So digital transformation is essential for businesses to thrive in today's dynamic landscape. When implemented properly, it allows for informed decision-making, streamlined processes, enhanced communications. These benefits translate into exceptional client experiences and improved financial performance of an organization. Improved decision-making, like Joshua just gave an example of, is real-time data and KPIs that are available to business leaders that have the ability to see the numbers when they need them. It's improved processes, optimization and automation, eliminate inefficiencies, boosting productivity, and saving costs. Sometimes it's not just about changing technologies, it's about changing your business. Digital tools foster seamless communication, breaking down information silos and promoting innovation amongst your team. That by in itself can enhance the client experience. Personalized interactions, faster responses, and seamless experiences that exceed customers' expectations. It also helps protect against risks, not just security and IT risks, but business risks. Without digital transformation, decreased productivity, process breakdowns, and frustrated clients can lead to a disadvantage against the competition. And we have an example that one of our colleagues likes to use from his personal experience about digital transformation. It's the story of two landscaping companies. And they had been dealing with a landscaping company for a long time, several years. And really, when you think about a landscaping company, what's prime for digital adoption or digital transformation in a landscaping company? They mow lawns, cut trees. They're not enterprise level. They're just a small business. Well, it turned out that their customer service was a really poor experience. Our colleague didn't know when people were going to be showing up. They didn't know when they left. They didn't know what the job was done. They couldn't see the job until they got home later in the day. Billing was a nightmare. Sometimes invoices were inaccurate. Sometimes they would come weeks or a month late, even long past the current billing cycle. So they were doing a good job of their core business, but they were doing a very poor job in the client experience. Well, another up-and-coming landscaping organization moved into the area, and they were targeting our colleague's neighborhood. They showed up at the door, were able to do an assessment on the spot using a mobile app, and they were able to take photos, they were able to take measurements and build out the requirements for the client. That was able to go back to their estimator in real time, who was able to provide a quote for our colleague within half an hour of the on-site assessment, not days or weeks later. Our colleague now gets real-time updates as to when staff are going to be on site, what those staff are going to be doing when they're there. He gets updates via photos of the work being done as they go. Within minutes of the crews leaving his property, he gets an invoice for the work that was done that day, which he's already been able to see through the customer conversation and communications. He's able to approve that invoice and pay it in real time by automating the billings process and setting that up in advance. So this is an example of two different companies, one of them who has embraced digital transformation and one of them who's not. Obviously, the client experience is so much more, is so much better and much more improved with the advantage of digital technologies. So what are the challenges? What is the pushback on digital transformation? Quite often it's misaligned objectives. Challenges arise when growth opportunities are not aligned with the technology that has been implemented. Without clear objectives, initiatives may fall short or fail. The complexity and integration of existing systems can sometimes roadblock new innovations and new technologies. Unexpected issues and delays from implementation can lead to increased costs. Change management requires organizational change, as we talked about previously. It's not just changing technologies, it's changing your business. These can face resistance internally. Inadequate change management strategies without full team buy-in can hinder successful adoption of technologies and successful implementations. Skills gap in talent acquisition is a huge one. Effecting digital transformation relies on a skilled workforce. Upskilling existing employees, as well as attracting top digital talent, can be challenging. And then, of course, there's budget management. Initiatives can exceed budgets and be financially straining if implemented incorrectly or ineffectively. These challenges we aim to overcome through the role of the digital advisor by making sure that the entire organization, all of the key stakeholders, are aligned on their objectives. We understand the complexity and we have a well-detailed plan on how this is going to be implemented. And part of any group or any transformation or any project like this, of course, comes training and oversight. Joshua, you had some thoughts kind of about this.
Yeah, certainly. So when I was thinking about what it might be good to cover on this topic, it occurred to me that this very webinar is actually an example of that. So as a company, we've done a few webinars before, and we've tried various presentation platforms, but they didn't necessarily integrate with each other. So we might have had one tool for bookings, another for the presentation platform itself, another for reminders, maybe even a fourth for sending out the recordings at the end of the meeting, end of the webinar. So it was clear there were better options. So for this webinar, we're using Teams, which does pretty much all the tasks that I just mentioned. But it did take time to learn a new tool. We had to make sure it met all our needs. Sometimes a tool that does everything doesn't do everything well. We had to train team members to use it to make sure we were giving a good customer and client experience. So it really required effort, focus, and planning on our part. And also, like any business, we had to make the judgment whether it was worthwhile investment on our part. So obviously we are doing this webinar through Teams, so we did make that determination, but it just shows how important it is to plan and to do things in a logical and thought out fashion, rather than making ad hoc changes or picking tools based on a niche need rather than looking at the overall picture of what you need. So it's kind of an example from what we do that kind of is relevant to some of the challenges as well.
That's good. Thank you, Joshua. That's great. It was a learning experience for sure as we built this platform up. So what available help is there? What we're here to talk about today, the biggest thing that's in the Canadian business world right now is the Canada Digital Adoption Program. It was established to help small, medium businesses and enterprise get on this digital transformation journey. As we've noted, there's a huge portion of this is in IT consulting with your digital advisor and planning. That planning takes time and effort right across your organization and your digital advisor. And this digital adoption plan program provides the funding for that. So it's a rather large program over several years. It's running out in 2026, I believe. So there's still several years to get on the bandwagon with it. To be eligible, you have to be a Canadian business that is privately owned or a Canadian controlled private corporation. You do have to be for profit. It is geared towards small business, 1 to 500, just below 500 staff, with at least $500,000 in revenue in one of the previous 3 years. What the program pays for is up to $15,000 to partner with a certified digital advisor who guides you through this transformation journey. It's fairly straightforward to apply for it. You create your account through GC Key. Many of you already will have one if you're a business owner. The program will confirm your eligibility. You then choose a digital advisor to work with. Over the course of the next several weeks or months, you go through the digital transformation planning process, where you work with a digital advisor to create your digital adoption plan for your organization, set out timelines and budgets. And when that process is done, you submit that plan to the government, and they will reimburse you up to 90% of $15,000 of the costs of that digital adoption planning. Quite often, this grant can cover the entirety of that digital planning process and the consulting fees that go along with it. Once you have your completed and approved plan from the CDAP program, it is run through ISED. You qualify then for Business Development Bank of Canada loans. These loans are 5-year loans at 0% interest. How much you get depends on the revenue of your organization. Anywhere between like $50,000 and $100,000, or I think anywhere between $25,000 and $100,000. There is also a small subsidy for an employee. If you hire an employee specifically for work that is part of your digital adoption plan. What if you're much smaller than that? Well, there's still opportunity in this program for you. There is the Grow Your Business Online grant. So this is a micro grant for up to $2,400 that covers digital transformation adoption costs specifically related to online sales. So this might be an example of that landscaping company. Maybe they didn't qualify for a full CDAP. Maybe they didn't feel they needed that, but they want to get going on getting up to speed and to be able to compete with that new landscaper that's moving in and taking away their business. So you could use this grant, for example, to build online portal, customer booking systems, customer payment portals, those kinds of things. It's explicitly around online sales, is what this Grow Your Business Online grant is for. It is much easier to qualify for. But I had the note right here, but it's basically you have to have one employee or make more than $30,000 in the year. Other than that, we can send out, we'll have information about the qualifications on our website as well as the government websites as well. What our offer is for you today is to go through that business improvement review with you. So the call to action for this webinar is to book the business improvement review, where we go through, we sit down with stakeholders in your organization, perhaps a business owner or chief executives. We identify where the business capabilities currently are. We assess what level of digital maturity you currently have and what your technology is capable of. This process identifies whether or not the Canadian Digital Adoption Plan and or digital transformation and digital adoption is appropriate for your organization. Maybe you already have a plan and the planning stage isn't the most important thing, it's the implementation. That would not be something that would be well qualified for the CDAP, for example, but you may still need digital advisory services. Or you might uncover other areas of your business that are ripe for improvement. So reach out to us to book an implementation or a business improvement review, and we'll do that for no charge. It's about 60 to 90 minutes, and we do need business stakeholders available for it. All right, and as we noted, the business improvement review is the first step in the digital transformation journey. Making sense of digital transformation, is it right for you? And what's the best way to proceed to help your organization get from confusion to clarity? One other thing we'd like to know is, well, we talked a lot about organizations and departments that have nothing to do with IT. We are, of course, as Joshua mentioned, an IT managed services provider. We do IT advisory services, of course, but what if we go through that business improvement review and identify that what you really need is development of online marketing or the implementation of an ERP system? By partnering with an organization like the Digital Maturity Group, it gives us, as your digital advisor, access to a wide variety of professional services right across North America. There's people from sales, there's people from business operations, from marketing, and IT and security. We're able, as your digital advisor, to bring in experts in those particular areas at the time that they're required by being a part of this digital maturity group. It expands our ability to serve you in the most efficient way possible. So that's basically the presentation on the digital adoption program, what digital transformation is. Kaya, do we have any questions at this time?
No, we didn't get any questions today, but I recall that we are often asked about business improvement review. And would you like to respond to that question? What specific areas or aspects of our business will be evaluated during the business improvement review?
Okay, so the business improvement review, we sit down with stakeholders in your organization, and it does go through all aspects of an organization. So we ask a set of very detailed questions, generally ranking things from kind of 1 to 10 on a scale to identify the maturity of your organization. So we might ask a question like, what is the capabilities of your organization to collaborate internally? And an organization might say, oh, well, that's a 5 out of 10. Well, we start to dig into why is that then? Well, some of our team members use Slack, some use Microsoft Teams, some of them only communicate via email. We don't have any cohesive company collaboration platform. We're talking, but it's disjointed and siloed. We would identify things like that, and perhaps integrated communication is an area that's ripe for us to probe more deeply if we get into the full digital adoption planning process. Great.
Thank you. I can see some people typing in the chat. We don't have any questions for now yet, but maybe we could give them some time.
Oh.
Yeah, David is asking, there's lots of different advisors out there. Why Kirchhoff?
Well, one of the primary things, first off, we are, of course, certified by the government. There's lots of people doing digital adoption and digital advisory services. To qualify for the CDAP, you do have to be approved by the government of Canada in order to do so. Beyond that, Kirchhoff Technologies has a long history of working with organizations inside of business planning, not just in for-profit organizations, but also in nonprofits and some government organizations as well. Anyone who is one of our clients knows that we have our business technology review meetings at least annually, if not quarterly, where we go over where is your business at, where is your technology at, and how can we get you to the next level. Kirchhoff Technologies has a lot of experience and a long history of this kind of proactive IT planning. It's something that we've been doing for quite a long time.
And thank you so much, Isabel. Colin is asking, how much does cybersecurity fit into this program, and can this fund working towards certification, such as, I hope I pronounce it right, I'm sorry about it, SOC2? I don't know if that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah,
okay,
so
thank you.
What the planning process, absolutely. Security is a huge component. And if you have a digital adoption program or plan that has not at least identified where you're at security-wise and where you need to get to, your plan's likely to be rejected by the government. Security is huge in this. If it is identified that it is beneficial to your organization to go for a security certification, that can absolutely be part of your digital adoption or digital transformation plan. And it would if you did have an approved plan that included a security certification like that. The Business Development Bank of Canada 0% interest loan would be applicable to you for the implementation of that. So I want to be very clear, the CDAP itself cannot fund implementations at all. Okay, it is strictly to be used for the business planning process. And once the business plan is approved by the government, it's the 0% BDC interest loans that are used for implementation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We don't have any questions, so I think that we can pass it to Joshua now.
Yeah, thank you all very much for joining us. It's been really exciting to work through this process, to get this webinar together for you all, and to share this information. We're going to start doing these regularly. So our next webinar will be about this time next month in July. We will send out information closer to the date, and The recording for this meeting will also be sent out shortly. But yeah, so thank you all very much for coming. Thank you very much, Isabel, for presenting today, Kaya for all your work, and Natasha, who's here in the background as well, for all your work getting this together. And thank you all for attending. It's hugely important for us to get this information out. And I look forward to seeing you all next month. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.